The movie begins with a character named Cole who is searching for his brother, Ducat. Eventually, their mother discovers Ducat locked in his room. Cole tries to talk to him, but Ducat doesn't respond. Cole decides to break the door down and finds Ducat sitting with his body covered in wounds. Ducat talks to himself for a while before Cole takes him outside, where the guests at the house start filming him. When they step outside, Ducat tragically attacks Cole with a knife. After killing his brother, Ducat decides to take his own life as well. This marks the end of the first scene, leaving everyone puzzled about what exactly happened. Later, the story shifts to a character named Mia, who is dealing with the recent death of her mother. Her relationship with her father isn't great, and 2 years pass as she struggles with the situation. Here we see a character named Ronnie waiting for his sister to go somewhere together. His friend offers him a cigarette, but Ronnie refuses. At that moment, Mia arrives in her car to pick up Ronnie and take him home. We learn that Mia is actually friends with Ronnie's sister and lives nearby in the same city. On their way, they encounter a dying gazelle. Ronnie tells Mia that she should end its suffering, but she can't bring herself to do it. Eventually, Ronnie returns home, angry at his sister, Jet, for leaving him stranded on the street for so long. He storms out of the room. Meanwhile, Mia tries to talk to Jet about the gazelle they saw on the road, but Jet seems completely distracted. We then see Mia watching a video from their friend Eddie, who claims he can communicate with spirits. Naturally, none of them believe it's real. Finally, they contact Daniel to visit the place where the events happened to figure out whether it's real or staged. Meanwhile, Jet's mom arrives home, and Mia talks to her, explaining that she doesn't want to return home because she doesn't like her father. Mia tries to comfort her, then goes to see Jet. During this time, we learn that Jet's mom doesn't approve of Daniel because he is a strict Christian, while they are atheists, and she doesn't want Jet to go out with him. However, Mia manages to convince her. Eventually, they leave the house with Ronnie and head to the location where the strange events occur. Soon, they arrive at Eddie's house, the person who claimed he could communicate with spirits. It's revealed that all of this is done through a cursed hand. Eddie is upset that his younger brother has come home, but he explains the rules of the game so they can start immediately. Eddie tells them that the spirit can stay attached to you for about 90 seconds, but in the end, you must release it. Otherwise, it will remain in your body forever. They decide to start with Ronnie, but his sister refuses because he's too young. As a result, Mia volunteers to be the first to begin. Later, they light a candle to open a gateway to the other world. Mia must hold the sorcerer's hand and ask it to speak to her, which she does. At that moment, she sees the spirit of an old man and gets scared, but her friends convince her to continue. This time, she sees another person sitting in front of her. The spirit that entered Mia's body tells them it needs Ronnie's spirit because he is still a child, and the spirit is already right behind him. As time passes and reaches the 80-second mark, Mia is supposed to remove her hand from the sorcerer's, but the spirit refuses to leave her body after breaking the 90-second limit. Everyone becomes worried about Mia's safety, but she seems fascinated by the experience and wants to try it again. That night, Ronnie is afraid and wants to sleep next to Mia due to his fear, but he is unaware that Mia keeps dreaming of different nightmares and finds the sorcerer's experience thrilling. Later, Mia shares with Jet the details about her mother's death, explaining that she overdosed on sleeping pills and that this was ultimately caused by her father, who decided not to help her. In the end, we learn that the spirit is still inside Mia and hasn't left her body by the end of the day. The next morning, Jet's teacher tries to talk to Eddie to let him know that her brother wants to try the sorcerer's hand. They agree to do it, but it will take place at her house while her mother is out for the night visiting friends, unaware of what Eddie and Daniel are up to. Later that night, we discover that the hand belonged to a severed, mummified sorcerer. Ronnie places his hand on it to start the ritual, and terrifying things happen to him. The spirit that enters Ronnie's body reveals that it longs to live again and doesn't want to return. At one point, Ronnie attacks the dog that was with them. Eventually, they pull the hand away from him to end the session, leaving the dog locked in the room. Mia, however, becomes eager to try the ritual again. Finally, they ask Jet to continue the ritual, but she is too scared to participate. She excuses herself, saying she needs to go to the bathroom, and it becomes clear that she is upset. At this point, Mia asks Ronnie if he wants to try the ritual again, but only for 50 seconds. Ronnie agrees and sees a terrifying spirit. It's revealed that the spirit entering Ronnie's body is Mia's mother, who starts talking to Mia, expressing her love and assuring her that she didn't commit suicide. Mia's mother confirms her identity through a special word they shared. Mia refuses to remove Ronnie's hand from the sorcerers, wanting to talk to her mother longer, and time passes significantly. Eventually, Ronnie begins hitting his head on the table, injuring himself. Everyone tries to remove his hand quickly, and Jet arrives just in time. The police later come to the house to investigate what happened to Ronnie. They don't mention the sorcerer's hand and tell the officer it was just an accident. In the end, Mia returns to her father's house instead of staying with her friend. She talks to her father and asks him about the details surrounding her mother's death. At this point, her father still doesn't respond to her questions, so Mia heads to her room. It's revealed that she secretly took the sorcerer's hand with her before leaving, intending to contact her mother. Meanwhile, Jet is at the hospital with her brother, and both her mother and Jet are furious with Mia, blaming her for everything that happened. Jet's mother remains unaware of the sorcerer's hand situation. Later, Mia sees the reflection of her mother's spirit in a mirror and begins following it. She ends up in the bathroom, trying to open the door, but it doesn't budge. At this point, Daniel tries to confront Mia to find out what's going on, but she doesn't speak to him. He drops her off at her house and warns her that the police are searching for her due to the recent events. Daniel also tells her that if he goes home, the police will arrest him immediately. Mia offers for him to stay with her instead, but Daniel declines because of Jet. It's revealed that Mia and Daniel were in a relationship a long time ago. She tries to convince him that it's all in the past, and Daniel agrees to go with her back to the house. Once there, he sees the sorcerer's hand again. Mia becomes determined to use the sorcerer's hand to contact her mother, but Daniel refuses to let her. Later, she watches a video of her mother playing with her, showing how happy her mother once was. This deepens Mia's belief that there's a dark mystery surrounding her mother's death. She falls asleep, convinced her father is responsible. When Mia wakes up, she sees spirits manipulating Daniel's body, terrifying her. She tries to wake him, realizing there's a sinister presence in the room. She screams in disbelief, only to discover that she was the one biting his leg. She tells Daniel someone was in the room, but he doesn't believe her. Overwhelmed by everything happening, Mia breaks down in tears. Determined to find answers, Mia decides to use the sorcerer's hand alone. Her mother's spirit appears, and Mia seizes the chance to ask her about the day of her death. The truth begins to unravel. In the end, Mia's mother reveals that she didn't commit suicide and promises to stay with Mia. Mia falls asleep in her mother's arms. The next morning, Jet tries to stay with her brother, but his condition worsens. He begins banging his head against the wall, bleeding heavily, and refuses to respond to her questions. Later, they all meet again at the house to discuss what happened to Ronnie. Mia reveals that her mother's spirit appears to her everywhere. Someone explains that the sorcerer's hand is indeed cursed, and that anyone who dies with an evil spirit inside them will remain under the spirit's control forever. This person admits they want to sell the hand to prevent others from suffering like Ronnie. When Mia asks who this person is, she learns it's Ducat, Cole's brother, who killed himself at the beginning of the film. They decide to speak with Ducat to uncover more about what happened. They try to question Ducat about what happened to his brother during that period, but he avoids talking about it and walks away. Mia then warns him that there's someone currently possessed by an evil spirit who might end up like his brother unless they intervene. Realizing the urgency, Ducat tells them they must exorcise the spirits possessing Ronnie before they drive him to kill himself. They return to the hospital, and Mia volunteers to take the spirits into herself. During the ritual to exorcise the spirits from Ronnie, a little girl appears and shows Mia the entities controlling him. Overwhelmed, Mia comes to the realization that the process is too difficult for her to handle. Shaken, she leaves the place and finds her father waiting for her when she gets back. Mia's father shows her the note her mother left before her suicide, apologizing for her actions and explaining that she felt there was no other way. Mia insists her mother didn't take her own life. Suddenly, a spirit appears and tells Mia that the person outside isn't her real father, and that she must kill Ronnie to free him from the spirits. Her father enters looking terrifying and attacks her, breaking everything in the room. Mia screams, and her father breaks down the door to reach her. Tragically, Mia realizes she attacked her real father with scissors, mistaking him for the spirit. She is left shocked and unable to process what happened. Later, Mia calls Jet, crying and asking her to come see her immediately. Jet becomes worried and decides to visit Mia. It turns out to be a trap set by Mia to distract Jet from Ronnie so she can harm him. Shortly after, Ronnie's mother confronts Mia, who finds a way to get her out of the room. Mia places her hand on Ronnie's, apologizing for what is about to happen. The evil spirit appears and tries to kill her, but fails. Meanwhile, Jet goes to Mia's house and sees her father dying, realizing it was all part of Mia's trap. Jet rushes back to the hospital and finds Mia pushing Ronnie in a wheelchair toward the highway. Soon after, Mia is seen lying on the ground with tire marks nearby. Mia wakes up again and returns to the hospital, where Ronnie's condition has significantly improved, and he is about to be discharged. When Mia leaves the hospital, she sees her father and calls out to him, but he doesn't respond. She then realizes she doesn't appear in mirrors. She follows him into an elevator, and the lights go out around her. Suddenly, she sees a candle flickering, leading her to a group of people. It is revealed that Mia has died and has become a spirit communicating with them, and that's how the story concludes. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed it. See you soon in another movie. Goodbye.